Welcome to the regular meeting of the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners. We have a lot to discuss today, and we also have another meeting to have. What you're going to see and hear if you tuned into the television channel that we have, Channel 13, for this particular meeting, we're going to have our regular meeting today where we will vote on a number of items, and then following that meeting, we will have another meeting, and that meeting is to brief the commissioners on the next meeting for the commissioners on February 3rd. So if you're looking forward to a lot of information, today is going to be a good day to be with the county commissioners as they deliberate and make decisions based on facts that they have and the things that need to go on before we can get much further. I'd like to suggest that if you would like to speak to the commissioners during the public session, we have outside in the lobby a place where you can pick up a copy of a little form, and all you do is fill it out and take it over to Ashley Sloop, who will be sitting over here. In fact, she is sitting over there right now, and she will make sure that you're ready and willing and ready to speak to the commissioners when the public session comes along. Right now, I'm going to turn the meeting over to the Vice Chairman of the County Commissioners, Don Martin. Don?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We will begin our meeting today with a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and if you please stand if you're able. Thank you.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Citizens who are interested in participating in the public session of the meeting, that's not the public hearing, but on the regular public session, please call 336-422-1200, and you will be placed on hold until the public session begins. That number again is 336-422-1200. Members of the audience who are interested in participating, as the chairman indicated, please fill out a card, that there's speaker cards out front, and return to the clerk who is sitting to my right. We'll begin our meeting today with our weekly update from Joshua Swift, the Public Health Director. Give us a COVID-19 update, and Joshua, we are ready for you. You don't look like Joshua, but we don't hear you though.
Joshua said he cannot hear.
Situations like this, I'd think a lot about the little song that is played on the television show Jeopardy, you know, da, 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 da. We can hum that if you want to. Kind of little play-by-play, what you're seeing is the clerk to the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners, Ashley Sloop, who just talked with the county manager, Dudley Watts. And now she is in the audience in this commissioner's meeting room, and here comes the manager right behind her. And he is speaking to the deputy county manager, Chantel Robinson.
So we're having some audio difficulty with folks that are out participating virtually hearing.
A lot of people are typing saying they can't get on.
Forget that.
Deborah, text Marsha and tell her everybody's having problems.
Okay, thank you, Tawana. I think she cannot hear us, and then so that's going to be difficult. So give us a moment. I think we could just come back around to Joshua's report and go ahead and just do that after we finish the the public hearing and the public session, so.
Okay, we'll do that. So the first item on the regular agenda today is a public hearing on the zoning request of ARTIS KAPP, BRENDA KAPP, and Jerry STOLTZ from RS9 to
Hello?
HBS. Can you hear us?
I can hear you, Miss. Can you hear me? I can hear you, but I can't hear nobody else.
We are going to postpone Joshua's presentation until we finish our public hearing, till we get the audio and visual virtual connection repaired. Yep, she can't hear me now, so she may come back on again.
You know, in television and radio, what we call that is technical difficulties beyond our control.
All righty. Returning to the public hearing, we'll actually, the first speaker of the public hearing will be Chris Murphy with Planning and Development Services. And Mr. Murphy, you can actually review this request.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Vice Chairman, members of the County Commissioners. This is case F-1606. This is a request of ARTIS KAPP, BRENDA KAPP, and Jerry STOLTZ to rezone a piece of property located on the east side of Shore Road, south of the US 52 interchange with Westinghouse Road from RS9 to HBS for the use convenience store, motor vehicle repair and maintenance, fuel dealer, and restaurant with drive-through service. This is the subject property shown on the county legacy map. It is located in the suburban neighborhoods growth management area, again there at the intersection with 52 Westinghouse and Shore Road. Here is the subject property shown in yellow. You'll notice it is zoned RS9. And it, again, is on the southeast side of the interchange with US 52 Shore Road and Westinghouse. They're located across from Griffin Road. This is the subject property highlighted in yellow on the aerial photography. You notice it is predominantly a mix of wooded and cleared area, but it is undeveloped. This is the subject property near the intersection of Shore Road and Griffin Road, there on the left-hand side of the image. This is looking north along Shore Road, heading towards the intersection with 52, and the site is to the right. This is the area plan for Vacaville area plan update from 2013, which was adopted both by the County Commissioners and the town of Vacaville. The subject property is shown in an area recommended for industrial development. The area on this side of 52 and Shore Road, the area that is just concentrated in the area where I am highlighting here kind of with my mouse, is approximately 265 acres recommended for industrial in the area plan. This is the site plan associated with F-1606. Again, you'll notice the blue arrows along the road highlight driveways along Shore Road. The driveway closest to the 52 intersection, it would be what's considered a right-in, right-out. You would not be able to make left turns into the site heading south on Shore Road, or to turn left to go further south onto Shore Road. You would have to turn right into, not sure what happened there. Turn right into the site or out of the site. The driveway at the southern edge of the property, where you see the highlight in yellow, that is the full interchange. There is a proposed, the area in green would be a proposed buffer yard, and that buffer yard actually extends along that entire property line with Shore Road. The area that's shown in orange is what would be what I consider, normal vehicle pumps and kind of the convenience store for the overall truck stop and fueling area for the public. The areas highlighted in blue are truck car wash, truck repair area, tire changing, and fueling stations for the trucks. The area that is highlighted in yellow is what is proposed as a 40-foot access easement to replace the existing access easement for KAPP Farm Road. And that access easement does go to the Columbus KAPP House, which is a historic home located further to the south on this image. In summary, when you look at the proposal, it was the planning board's belief that this would negatively impact the viability of doing a large-scale, comprehensively planned industrial development at this location. Again, part of that 265 plus or minus acre area that was recommended for industrial development in the area plan. Per legacy, quality industrial sites should be maintained for industrial development to serve as economic development and job creation opportunities. It was the thought of the planning board that this may lead to other commercial rezoning requests along Shore Road and Griffin Road, given the HB nature of the request, the potential to strip that out as a commercial destination area. It was also believed that this would result in a significant increase of traffic in the surrounding area, as this would be pulling traffic off 52 as a way to capture trips for fuel and other convenience items. And the village of Vacaville is not supportive of the request. They did actually submit written comments summarizing their opposition. They contemplated a similar request to this in 2017 on the other side of the road. It was never filed, but the village of Vacaville did have a public meeting for the residents, and the residents indicated that they were opposed to a truck stop in this area. When the 2021 project was submitted, which is what was before you today, it's increased in scope and size according to, I guess the preliminary plans that were seen by the village. The proposed truck stop is not consistent with the industrial recommendation of the area plan, which was adopted by both the village and the county in 2013. The village is concerned with traffic congestion and crime, and they did hold another public meeting in September of 2021 before the village council, and following the public comment, again recommended the rezoning request be denied. So the recommendation, this was heard by the planning board at their November 10th, 2021 public hearing. There were 7 speakers in opposition, and the planning board voted 5-2 to recommend denial of this request. And I will say that the site plan does meet UDO requirements. And with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Could I ask a couple? Could you go back to the, Vacaville area plan, one more slide? Do you know roughly how those 265 the purple shaded area acres split on the 2 sides of 52 on what I would call sort of that southwest side? Do you know how many roughly acres are in that purple area?
265 acres is just that southwest side.
Just that side?
Correct.
Just that side?
Yeah,
Okay.
the other area is already zoned predominantly for industrial, so we were just, whenever I went back and read the staff report, and the 265 plus or minus acres is just on this side of 52.
Okay, thanks. Could you go to the next slide, which is the picture of the site? Do you know the elevation difference between the orange area and the blue area? Because I know the road slopes down, there'll be grading required. Do you have an idea of the elevation drop to the truck fueling area and building repair area?
Bear with me just a second, I'll pull the plan up. It appears that the truck repair area roughly is at an elevation of, I would say between 959 and 961. And the proposed elevation of the driveways where they connect back out to Shore Road vary. The elevation at the northernmost driveway where it connects to Shore Road is at 969, so you're looking about 8 or 10 feet above grade at the northern point, so that would be your highest point on the site. Where the proposed driveway connects to Shore Road at the southern end of the site, it's around 958. So it would essentially be about flat with the truck fueling area in the rear.
And the distance of that yellow shaded access road, I'm going to say that distance is roughly, I remember last week we talked about from Griffin Road down to that entrance is about 500 feet. So it looks to me about another 500 feet depth into the site roughly.
I would say that's probably a good approximation. I'd say between 400 and 500. There is no measurement on here of that distance that I see, so I can't, at least on that sheet. Let me pull and see if there's one on the overall plan with a bearing and distance. Yeah, there's not one on there either. I would say between 400 and 500 feet is a good approximation.
And I assume that the area looking at the site to the right of the blue box, I guess repair area, that's going to be paved, I take it, and that would be an area for truck parking, yes?
Correct.
And does the elevation change at all on that?
I would say it's roughly the same. Probably it slopes. I would say it probably slopes to the east.
Well, it slopes down, yeah.
Southeast. And it does. The furthest reach, the far edge of the truck parking area appears to be at an elevation of around 944. So again, you would
That's
lose about
substantial.
16 to 20 feet between the fueling area for the trucks and the far edge of the truck parking area. So you'd be about 25 feet below grade at the northernmost point along Shore Road and probably about 15 feet at the southern end, southern driveway.
One last question. In the previous discussions that we've had about this, there was really no mention of the bridge over US 52. And my familiarity, since I use that exit a lot, was I've always felt like that bridge was pretty inadequate for major traffic. Although I do know that out of Westinghouse and the other area there's some truck traffic now. But I noticed in none of the planning board discussion or review, the condition of the bridge over 52 was kind of never mentioned, because I know this is going to fan out to a turn lane on Shore Road, but just from the traffic around those the interchange itself with the exit with the ramps, I mean a bridge that's 3 lanes or a bridge that's 4 lanes would make a whole lot difference in terms of managing the expected traffic from a truck stop. And I don't recall any mention of that until I did get a couple of communications from citizens in the area that had some great Google Earth pictures, which kind of emphasize how small that bridge is, and actually talked about some of the concerns, because this is a person who commutes on that bridge every day and often that area. And so I was a little, I read that and said, well, yeah, I've been thinking that all along, and this person articulated it very well in their communication. And was that not discussed at all, maybe what DOT's plans in the future? I mean, the bridge is an old bridge with those kind of sides. It's probably a 65, 75, 1965, 1975 kind of era bridge for its kind of replacement. I mean, that's kind of a key piece of infrastructure to access this site.
It's one of those things where, again, whenever we receive a request for a rezoning, if it triggers a traffic impact analysis, that may be one of the things that would be reviewed. That wasn't a requirement for this project, is my understanding. We do have comments from NCDOT. They did review the project. The bridge did not come up as part of their review. That doesn't mean that they may not have thought about that, but it's not part of the review of this project. And obviously, to do a bridge widening or a bridge replacement would be outside of the scope of something that could be expected, kind of the rational nexus of what you could ask a developer to do as part of a development approval.
I understand that.
So, that would have to be part of a larger traffic, part of the TIP or something to approve that bridge. Now, obviously, that's something that the commissioners could consider as part of your deliberation on this item. If you feel like it would cause a concern, that perhaps would be a reason why you could find to vote against it, but it's not anything that was part of the actual analysis of the project in examining the DOT comments.
Okay. That's it for my other questions of Chris.
Chris,
Yes, ma'am.
the green line facing Shore Road, is that the added buffering that the staff requested?
It was on the image before that. It was representing the street yard, but they have changed the plan, and instead of doing a standard street yard, they are going to do a buffer yard. So the green line itself is not representative of that, but they are going to do a buffer yard along the entire frontage of Shore Road. And a buffer yard requires the same number of large variety trees, but requires a per 100 linear feet, 8 large evergreen plants like Nellie, Stevens, hollies, those kind of things. It's supposed to serve as more of a visual buffer, whereas a street yard is supposed to just basically be low-level shrubs to kind of block headlights. This would create more of an obstructed view.
Okay, so that's been added since the planning board voted,
Yes,
correct?
ma'am, and I did neglect to mention that. And they did contact us last week and said that they were willing to do that street yard, and that has been added to the plan that is in front of you.
Okay,
You are
thank
correct.
you.
What distinguishes this particular project from the rest of the industrial zoned property in the area? What makes it different?
Well, again, our thought process, and I believe the thought process behind the planning board's recommendation is that the HB zoning sets it up for more commercialized potential future growth.
Such as?
So like fast food restaurants, additional fueling stations, those kind of things, sets it up for, perhaps a shopping center. Whereas the recommendation for the area plan for industrial is viewed as that's something that could be a job center or something. Again, you're still going to have the truck traffic, but something that would, be a warehouse or something that could have manufacturing that would produce jobs and economic development. So that's the rationale and the reason behind the recommendation. I believe the planning board, kind of the dissenting opinion of the planning board was that they felt like that the truck stop could be industrial supportive in that, obviously if you have trucks in the area that this design could perhaps be integrated into an overall business park. So that was kind of the dissenting opinion of the planning board. The two folks that voted against the recommendation for denial, that was their thought process.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just one question, please. Chris, could you show us on this map any other changes that were made as a result of the community concerns?
As far as that were made after the fact, the only thing that was made was the change from a street yard along Shore Road to a buffer yard. There wasn't anything else that was changed from the time that the plan was resubmitted and it went to planning board and then it coming here. I did, because it was requested at the last meeting, I did highlight the access easement to the KAPP house in yellow. I highlighted that just for clarity so folks could see where that was, but there have been no other changes to the site plans based on what went to planning board except for changing from a street yard to a buffer yard along Shore Road.
Thank you.
Does the KAPP house have any relationship to the project as a whole?
Besides, I think it was part of the overall family that's doing the request, not that I'm aware of, but you probably will hear some of that from perhaps the applicant and from the opposition, but
Okay.
I'm not sure. I know it's part of the same family, I believe.
Other questions for Chris? Thank you very much. The clerk has informed me that 12 comments have been received in opposition to the request and 0 comments in favor. And copies of those comments have been given to the board members both electronically and for those to see and on paper. So thank you for those of you who submitted those. This is a public hearing, and speakers will have up to 15 minutes total to speak in favor of this request and up to 15 minutes in total to speak in opposition. So to begin, is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of the petition? And we'll give it a second here for folks to clear out of the way. And for those speaking in favor of the request, you can just one at a time come up, and please give us your name and address in favor of the request.
I have some papers I'd like to hand out. I don't think I've got enough of copies of what I'm going to
If you just hand those to the clerk, that'd be great, and she can probably sort of sparse them out, pass them out. We can share one. I know you can't read. I know you can't read. Say.
All you have to do is give your name and address, and you're on your own.
That's you.
All righty.
I'm Dennis Shore. I live at 1728 Old Griffin Road. Family has land on the Griffin Road. I guess I'm ready. There has been land on the corner of Shore Road and Griffin Road for sale, on and off, from approximately 1995. It was brought to my attention that Forsyth County and the village of Vacaville have a 10-year plan. The Village Development Guide in the works since 2000, adopted by the village residents through public hearings. The Village Council and adopted by the County Commissioners in 21. The plan in 2013 was revisited and reinstated with minor changes, but no opposition to the plan by the village residents, the Village Council, or no opposition from the County Commissioners. The plan in this area of Vacaville was a commercial, industrial use, which is consistent with how the land around major interstates is typically developed. Until a legitimate offer was presented had been no opposition to the change in the future industrial plan for this land by the Village Council or the Forsyth County Commissioners Planning Board. There has been little serious interest in this land over the last 30 years until Love's Travel Center tried to purchase 1631 Griffin Road around 2018. That particular tract does reside in the village of Vacaville. The other parcel of tract now does not reside in the village of Vacaville or any other municipality, only within the jurisdiction of Forsyth County. There is not any place that is specifically built for RVs, family campers, long-haul truckers to stop from exit 1 at the state line of Virginia until you go to east on 40 to the other side of Greensboro, or keep heading south on 85 to Salisbury or west of Statesville. I feel this location will be beneficial for thousands of travelers who use north and south route of 52. Since I-74 is a congressionally designated high-priority corridor on the National Highway System, it only makes sense to accommodate travelers with the amenities such as what Love's will have at this location, other than truck stops, because they are clean and provide good services and safe locations to stop. This company will bring around 40 to 60 full-time jobs with 401 plans, insurance, and good pay and good benefits. This business will offer Forsyth County a large tax base, a significant revenue stream, while providing a need for services on this side of the county. There will always be those who oppose the change and growth, but that is where those changes of the future development should see the people in charge of it should be see the big picture of the future of the area. Business growth east of towards Kernersville, west towards Clemens has been booming, but nothing on the north end of South County it's been stagnant for many, many years. Nothing has been passed in this type thing past Haynes Mill Road. I only hope that the Forsyth County Commissioners will look at the big picture regarding this development and decide and benefits the community as a whole, not just a handful of opposition. Thank you for your time. Have a good day, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Shore. Others wishing to speak in favor?
William Gleason with Love's Travel Stops and Country Stores out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And I'm in here to support the project. I want to talk about the economic impact. We expect to employ 60 full-time employees. We provide health benefits, 401k, and pay competitive wages. I would estimate that the retail tax generation at the facility would be roughly $250,000 a year, $30,000 in property tax. I want to discuss the 10-cent fuel disadvantage North Carolina has over Virginia. So right now, there's no place to fuel up in this part of the county. They're going to go up into Virginia on the way up, which is roughly 75 miles up to the nearest Pilot and Love's. And I project that we would sell 10 million gallons of fuel a year. At 10 cents a gallon, that would be $1 million in additional revenue to North Carolina DOT, which could address the bridge issue and take care of other issues that they have. Love's expects to invest $15 million in this facility if it's approved today. I'd like to discuss the compatibility that Love's has with industrial parks and areas. We have several, and we've provided the board with examples of Love's being at the beginning or at the start of an industrial area. One is in Mossy Head, Florida, where Love's was solicited by Walton County down there. We constructed a Love's down there, and we were followed up with a large FedEx facility. In the city of Normal, Illinois, the old Mitsubishi plant was purchased by Rivian, and I'm sure you've probably seen some stuff in the news about them. They make an EV pickup truck and an SUV, and they also have a huge contract with Amazon to produce EV delivery trucks. And Love's is in the current development of a Tier 0, what we call our largest travel stop in Normal, Illinois, along I-55 up there at the industrial park. And speaking of EVs, the government just recently passed the Infrastructure Act, and President Biden said he'd like to put 500,000 EV charging stations along the interstates. Well, what better place besides a Pilot or a TA or a Love's to be able to put those EV charging stations in? People will be able to take 20 or 30 minutes to get their EV charged, be able to get food, take a bathroom break, relax, and then get back on the road. That's not going to work at your typical convenience store inside the city limits. There's really no room for them to put those. When the truck comes to an industrial area, and whether they have an Amazon fulfillment center or a distribution or manufacturing plant, the truck that is coming in has to come in and pick up the freight. Then they have to weigh the truck, because the 3 axles are limited to a certain amount of weight on each axle, and there's a certain amount of gross vehicle weight on that truck. So after they pick up their load, they would come to a truck stop and weigh on what we call a CAT scale, a commercial scale. After they determine the load is legal, meaning that they're within the weight, and the 3 axles have the correct amount of weight on them, they can then determine how much fuel to take on. No different than what like an airliner takes on when they know how many passengers and how much baggage they have. Well, right now, if this turns out to be this mega industrial site, there's no CAT scale within 50 miles, so they're not going to fuel that. And they also run the risk of traveling up to Virginia or back down south at an illegal weight because they don't know the true weight of the tractor trailer. The trucks also need a place to stage. A lot of the warehouses and distribution facilities have a certain window where you come in and you can deliver between, say, 1 o'clock and 1:30. They don't allow for any staging or you get in line and waiting to come in. So trucks going to an industrial area need to be able to have a place to stop, get something to eat, and then make their assigned pickup time. Our facility will provide overnight parking. in a well-lit, safe environment. And I know that there's a huge problem along the interstate where you have trucks parking all along the on-off ramps. I know that happens at Rural Hall. I've experienced it. It's a nationwide problem. There's a 48 state deficit in truck parking. Loves is a member of the Truckers Against Trafficking Association to prevent human trafficking and identify it, and all of our employees are trained in that, so that if they see an instance of potential human trafficking, they notify the store manager and the police are called. And this has been a great help in helping reduce that across the country. There was one situation, I'll tell you, where a lady was abducted in Iowa and was taken to Virginia, and at a pilot there, the trucker noticed that this camper that was parked in the back, they kept moving the curtains back and forth. He notified the store manager, they called the police, and they rescued the lady. So that actually happens, and that's why we train our employees for that. Love's is a family-owned corporation out of Oklahoma City by Tom and Judy Love, started in 1964. And we're not in the business of operating a haphazard truck stop. We're building 40 of these 40 travel stops, new travel stops a year. So our motto is clean places, friendly faces. And I think if you've been to Love's, you notice that. Our project is fully UDO compliant, and we've agreed with all staff recommendations. And I want to finish in saying that the trucks on Highway 52 are the same trucks that are delivering groceries to your grocery store, to your supermarket, to your furniture store. Everything in this room, everything at your house was delivered by truck and by truckers. And so I have nothing but the utmost respect for truckers. And I know people have different opinions of truck stops and truck drivers. But let me give you an insight of what the federal government thinks of truck stops. In March of 2020, at the start of the pandemic, when everybody was shutting down, Love's was designated as a critical infrastructure business, and we couldn't shut down. We had to stay open for interstate commerce and travelers traveling along the interstate. So, you know, the federal government thinks very highly of the business that we're in and what we're providing. And I appreciate your time and your consideration today. Thank you.
Thank you. We had just reached our 15-minute limit, so we are ready for, are there those wishing to speak in opposition to the petition? And I do want to mention that we did receive for our normal public session speaker cards, there are actually 7 people who actually signed up that appear to be for the hearing. And if you have no objection, I can call your name and you come up, or if you have an order, if you'd just like to come up, that's fine, and I'll find your name and make sure we don't omit you. So obviously some of you filled out a speaker card that would like to speak today at the hearing. So would you like for me to just call your names up, or do you have an order that you would like to come?
Mr. Vice Chairman, there are numbers on the cards in your hand?
Oh, there are?
Yes, sir.
Are numbers?
Top right corner.
Oh, I got it. Sorry, excuse me. I just now see the red part. So we have Rachel Starling as the first speaker. So you can come up, Ms. Starling. If you'll just give us your address, we're in good shape.
Hello, my name is Rachel Starling, 1690 Griffin Road, Rural Hall, North Carolina, 27045. I'm here to express my concerns about rezoning case F-1606 on Shore Road. There are 8 others in the room here today with me that go along. I know this information is included with your agenda information, but I wanted you to hear it from me. The landscape of a truck stop would not be an attractive entrance into the village of Vacaville. I live 1,050 feet from the proposed truck stop entrance. Some of my concerns are light pollution, noise, and crime. Light pollution will light up the night sky, and there will be an unsightly high-rise sign in the horizon. There will be noise 24 hours a day from trucks entering and exiting the truck stop. We live on a quiet road in the village of Vacaville, and we would like for it to remain that way. From January 2020 through August 2021, there were over 450 emergency or law enforcement calls to the Statesville and Salisbury Loves truck stops respectively. I have reports from the City of Statesville Police Department and the Rowan County Emergency Services 911 Division in Salisbury. I can provide a copy of these reports to you if you have not seen them. A partial list of crimes include drug violations, motor vehicle theft, forcible rape, aggravated assault, and motor vehicle accidents, including hit and run. These types of calls will put an additional strain on our sheriff's deputies, EMS, and potentially the fire department. Please consider the residents of the area before allowing a rezoning of the land and approval of Love's Truck Stop or any other retail. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 2, I have Mr. Tom Johnson. If you would just give us your address when you come up, we'll begin.
Thank you, Commissioner Martin. I'm Tom Johnson. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Williams Mullen at 301 Fayetteville Street, Suite 1700 in Raleigh. And I'm here on behalf of Keith and Carl KAPP, who are adjoining property owners and related to the family members that have submitted the petition. Generally, Keith and Carl have been supportive of the long-range plan, the area plan that says for industrial. That's been in their mind what they foresaw this property developing into. When the application came forward to rezone it for a truck stop, they were willing to listen and had some discussions with Loves and had some agreements on some things to try to address noise and lighting, adding some additional landscaping. But one of the big concerns, as Ms. Starling mentioned, was the crime and the crime associated with Love's truck stops in North Carolina and attempts to address that. And we made some requests that there be potentially some security service, especially at nighttime, provided by Love's to help address that. Because in this area of the county, it's not like you have, city police or as many law enforcement officers available if there are calls. As our understanding from not firsthand but secondhand hearing that Forsyth County Sheriff's Department doesn't have many. I think there are 2 maybe deputies assigned to this area, which if you have calls for service here, then that leaves others lacking. So, that's a concern that hasn't been addressed. Tobacconville and the area plan and the planning board have the vision by setting this aside for industrial property and for a potentially large, attractive industrial site. If you read in the news recently, the mega site in Greensboro just has become a location for a Toyota battery facility. There was also discussions of a semiconductor plant going to the Moncure mega site. These are opportunities that are out there for large industrial projects that are attractive, as the one that is across from the interchange from this particular land is. And these are opportunities that you can lose if you allow the encroachment of the commercial development to come. It's not that we're against truck stops per se, it's that this isn't a good location because of the opportunity that this site presents for the future. And with that foresight, this could really be something attractive, compatible with the Siemens plant that's across 52. But if you start allowing, as Chris Murphy mentioned when he made his presentation, you start this, then it allows for more similar type of development to occur. More retail development, more commercial development. You lose more and more of the property that's available for the an industrial site. So I encourage you to follow what the planning board said, what the staff has said, and stick with the plan for the long-term benefit of the citizens of Forsyth County. And I thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. And I'm available for questions if you have any. Thank you.
On 3rd, we have Lowe's Travel Stops actually is listed, so is number 4. So is probably not in the speaking. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. I did. Excuse me. We have I apologize, my reading is terrible. Maybe Murin Macius? I apologize, I just couldn't read your handwriting. That's probably it. Yep, I see that. Yes, Marion. Mr. Marion, thank you. Just tell us your address. Ready to go.
My name is Myron Marion. Address is 3500 Richardson Avenue in Tobaccoville. Hello, Mr. Chairman, members of the council, county manager, and clerk. I'm here, actually, I'll be brief because I know many other speakers want to speak today. So, again, as here to represent the meeting minutes that was passed along to you, and I guess in behalf of this particular project. We more or less have this set aside in our town as a low-volume industrial, something like a warehouse, as mentioned before, or a data center, or something like that, where we actually have low volume of traffic in and out on a daily basis. And we do not see, like I said, a major restaurant or constant traffic, as you point out. And we've been told that the road will have to be substantially upgraded to handle that type of traffic if it does come into play. And Councilmember Lori Shore-Smith has also voiced a concern. I think this is put in your packet for you to review, not only for the aesthetics, but also some crime stats that she's pulled up from across the state for this area. And being a member of the council, I'm here to represent the remarks that planning staff did make on behalf of the plan. And I want to make sure that everyone is aware of that and has had time to read that, take that into consideration. And again, thank you for your indulgence in this matter.
Thank you, Mr. Marion. Next, we have William Gleason. I believe is correct. I got it. I apologize. I didn't get your name correct, Mr. Gleason, when you spoke earlier. Next, we have also is Jeremy Reese. Is okay. All right. Thank you. Next, we have Scott Horn. I see it now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Mr. Chairman, good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Scott Horn. I'm an attorney with Almond Spry in Winston-Salem, 380 Knollwood Street. I represent the property owner, Jerry Stoltz, and just wanted to briefly address a few of the issues that seem to be of primary concern at the planning board meeting, and we've heard some today. First is the characterization, whether perhaps unfair characterization of Love's Travel Stop being a magnet for crime. You heard that based on call logs from a Salisbury location and a Statesville location, there were about 450 calls over about a 20-month period to those stores. Well, if you look a little deeper into the logs, you'll find that 60% of the calls in Salisbury and over 70% of the calls in Statesville were things that were classified as 911 hangups, medical assistance, traffic accidents, property checks, even foot patrols, and other things that I wouldn't consider to be criminal activity. Beyond that, without knowing a lot more about these locations, it's hard to draw any conclusion as to whether the cause of any criminal activity is the result of Love's Travel Stop or any other business. What is the crime like in the area around it? And what's it like in other states or other areas? Finally, it doesn't make sense to me for any business, whether it's a truck stop or a convenience store or a hotel, to not address any kind of criminal problem because they want their customers to be safe and come to the premises. Love's has pledged to, if a problem were to arise, to work with the Sheriff's Department and follow their recommendations if it ever becomes a problem. Mr. Chairman, you referenced the historic property and access to the historic property. There's a recorded easement which cannot be interfered with, and in fact, if you look at the site plan, the easement is being enlarged and improved, and the easement holder's rights will not be impaired in any way by this development. Finally, when it comes to the Legacy 2030 plan and the Tobacco Area Plan, I'm puzzled as to how the planning board and anyone else thinks that this particular project would have a negative impact on the development of a larger industrial property. We're talking about 10% of 265 acres, and these industrial parks, as you heard from Mr. Gleason, need trucks coming in and out to operate. The trucks need scales and fuel that are near as possible to these industrial sites, or they'll be traveling illegally on the highway. And so I think this project is not only compatible with the legacy plan, it may be a necessity to open up the development for the larger industrial park. The STOLTZ KAPP family has owned this property since before there was a Forsyth County, probably before there was a state of North Carolina. It was part of the original Wacaville grant. In the entire time they've owned this property, they didn't ask for zoning laws and regulations to be imposed on it. They didn't ask for development ordinances. They didn't ask for a highway to come through the property. They didn't ask for an interstate to come through the property. They're willing for it to become an industrial park. And all they're asking now is for Forsyth County to have a little bit of flexibility and grant this, approve this project. Thank you.
Since I mistakenly granted Mr. Horn, go ahead, you can sit down, Mr. Horn.
Okay.
Since I mistakenly granted Mr. Horn an opportunity to speak during the those opposed period of time, we can lengthen this period if necessary to make sure everyone has an opportunity who wishes to speak in opposition. So the last card we had actually was Mr. Dennis Shore, who had already spoken. So are there others of you here who would like to speak in opposition to the request? Just come forward and tell us your name and address.
Thank you. My name is Debbie Roddy. I live at 1873 Griffin Road. I had not planned to speak, but after hearing everything that's taken place today, I do have several concerns. The actual air pollution has not been addressed at all. And diesel fumes and the particles, even the 2.5 micro, just tiny particles of the diesel fumes lodge in your lungs, and you can't cough them out. They're too small. And so with the truck stop being there, and the traffic analysis report says that there's going to be 6,577 trucks or traffic going in and out in a one-day period, 6,577 per day. So you can imagine what kind of diesel fumes is going to be in the area. And short-term to diesel fumes cause coughing, lung issues, respiratory type things. And long-term, and I'm sure you guys have looked, long-term exposure to the diesel fumes cause lung cancer. It can cause all kind of other problems in your body. It says it causes heart issues. And it's just, we're right there on top of it. We will never have fresh air again. It's, and as far as 6,577 in and out up there, we won't be able to get in the road at all. It's just a lot. And two, I know firsthand about crime at a truck stop. My husband and I travel. We have a motorhome. And we had stopped at a truck stop one time. And when we stopped and fueled, he got out and he was walking around. And then three men approached him, surrounded him, started taking out monies, and was trying to, holding on to him, trying to get him to take his money out. Well, obviously I was freaking out, but luckily another man started walking up and saw what was happening, and the three men left. So I know firsthand that they're not safe. And like I say, just the pollution alone is going to be a nightmare. It even affects children's lungs. You know, when we have a lot of kids in our neighborhood, and it says that the lungs can't even grow to the capacity that they should if there's lots of diesel fuel fumes. And I did send in a letter, and there is a link there that states that information, you know, the causes that it can cause. And like I say, I know you guys have done your research. Appreciate you letting me speak, and we just hope that you guys won't let this happen, because it basically will affect our lives for the rest of our lives. And we're not opposed to growth there, but I feel a truck stop, because I have been by many and stopped at several, you know, just in traveling. And I get it, you know, but it's just not a good place. If I were a business owner or wanting to come into an area, I would not build close to a truck stop. I mean, first of all, it destroys the roads. They're not appealing to the eye. It's just a lot of things. And I think someone said something about how far it was to truck stops. I actually looked at that. I did not state that in my letter. There is 38 truck stops in a 75-mile radius of the proposed site. And they're in the process of building one 15 miles up the road in Pilot Mountain. It's already under construction. I just hope you guys will vote against it, and I appreciate you taking time to let me talk. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition to the request? All right. Hearing none, the hearing is closed, and I might ask, are there any questions, or do we have a motion?
Vice Chairman, I do have a couple questions, sir. I needed to verify what the security services determination was for that particular site. Can you hear me? Yes, I needed to know what the security services was determined for that particular site.
That's not anything that is part of a rezoning analysis. So there isn't anything for us. I'm not sure if maybe the petitioner had any information, but that's not anything that's part of a.
Sure. I know that, but could he address the security services for me? The concerns about that. I knew that he said there was some conversation with the sheriff's department, but is that something that's going to be a part of?
Oh.
In our discussions with the neighbors with the KAPPs, they asked for several buffering and plantings and stuff, which we agreed to. And then they asked if we would provide 24-hour security service. And our response was that typically Love's never opens up with security services because we don't require them. Only probably about 4% of the Loves, somewhere along the border down in the Rio Grande Valley, have security. So if we need security, we'll put it in. So we came back and said that we would take whatever the Forsyth County Sheriff recommended. If he's seen that we were having a lot of calls and he came and said, hey, would you consider security, whether it's a 24-hour or a dawn-to-dusk security, we're certainly willing to do that. Then they came back and said, well, would you agree to dawn-to-dusk? And I spoke with our legal people in Oklahoma City, and we just don't do security right off the bat, because usually there's never a need for it. But if there is a need for it and the sheriff says or requests it, I commit to all of you that we would put in security there.
Any other questions?
I'd like to clarify that if I may. Again, Tom Johnson, and we had the discussions regarding security. I do want to point out, we didn't ask for 24-hour. We just said dusk to dawn during the nighttime hours, if they could do that. because of the concerns with the calls at the other sites. Saying if the sheriff recommends it or if it's bad, we'll do it, there's no standard. And that was our concern. There's no standard to say when you reach the point where that's necessary or not. But we do know that this is not like it's in the city of Winston-Salem. It's out in a rural area, and you do not have the coverage that you have in the city. Or the Love's Truck Stop in Statesville, that they have the City of Statesville Police Department available to make for the coverage. So that was a simple request we made, and they said, no, we'll just see how it goes. Well, how are we going to see how it goes? You know, how are you going to make that determination that it's bad enough? We felt like it was a simple commitment to just say, in the nighttime, we'd have somebody there when there, you know, or less coverage, less traffic, less people there and eyes, like the lady who just came up here and spoke. There was somebody that came up and the crowd dispersed. At nighttime, that's less likely to happen, so that was kind of our position. So I did want to clarify that. We did not ask for 24 hours coverage. We said during the nighttime.
Vice Chairman, my last question was regarding the environmental study. Can anybody speak to that?
Commissioner McDaniel, there is no environmental study required up front as part of a development proposal. If there is kind of a brownfields or something like that where there is contamination, a lot of times you do have to do some environmental studies and environmental assessments up front for development. But since this is kind of a greenfield area where there isn't anything developed, an environmental study would not be necessitated or required. But whenever they go through the approval process for the installation of their tanks, for everything else, they'll have to meet stormwater quality. They'll have to, I believe the tanks are regulated through the Department of Agriculture, but they also have to get permits through the fire department for the installation of those. So, and as part of that, there are safeguards of how those things are put in the ground now compared to how they were before. There's spill monitoring. So you have lots of checks and balances in the system now that you did not have, say 30, 40, 50 years ago whenever some of these things got put in and you've had contamination.
Mr. Vice Chairman, there are good arguments for and there are good arguments against this particular project, and I would like to make a motion that we approve the project as it's written.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
motion to approve zoning map amendment F-1606 and statement of consistency with comprehensive plan. I move that zoning map amendment F-1606, including site plan and special use district, be approved on the basis of the following. Number one, the proposed special use zoning map amendment as petitioned by ARTIS KAPP, Brenda KAPP, and Jerry STOLTZ to rezone a 20-acre piece of property from RS9, 9,000 square foot minimum lot size, to HBS, General Industrial Special Use, Convenience Store, Motor Vehicle Repair and Maintenance, a fuel dealer and restaurant with drive-through service, is consistent with the recommendation of the Legacy Comprehensive Plan and reasonable or in the public interest because the subject property, an undeveloped site located on Shore Road, approximately 450 feet south of the ramp for the US 52 interchange, is currently zoned RS9 and is adjacent to property zone HB, RS9, and AG, and is near property zoned LI and GI. Number two, the proposed HBS zoning is intended to accommodate resale services, distribution uses, and high-density residential in growth management areas 2, 3, and 4. Number three, the proposed use site plan features the construction of a convenience store, automobile and truck fueling station, restaurant with drive-through, 4-bay tire service building, and truck parking lot. Number four, Shore Drive has ample capacity to handle traffic generated by the proposed uses, and public water and sewer are available. And number five, the subject property is located in Growth Management Area 3 and is adjacent to property zone HB, and the proposed uses are consistent with this adjacent zoning.
Mr. Chairman, I would withdraw my motion in favor of Mrs. Wizenhunt's proposal, and I will second the motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Wizenhunt and a second by Commissioner Plyler. Is there any discussion? I have one comment, but is there any other discussion? My one comment is that I'm partially explaining my vote in opposition, is that I think, hindsight's always 20/20, and I think the issue of informing the neighborhood has been sorely lacking. And I would like to say sending out 6 letters from the engineering company doesn't exactly constitute notice to me. I do realize it meets the distance requirements probably for letters and adjacent property owners and those probably meets the letter of the law, but I do think better information would have provided at least some level of understanding of the exact project to be discussed. And similarly, I think the town of Vacaville could have actually, when they hosted the hearing, it would have been great to have representatives of either the owner and or Love's Truck Stop there to do exactly that too. So I think, as I said, hindsight's 20/20. I think that would have provided a lot better information in this process. However, I do think that, I've been to many truck stops in my life, and certainly I've tried to think of locations that were basically within a half a mile of neighborhoods, and I really couldn't think of one because they're typically on the interstate where it's just very densely developed, properties. So we've got a half a mile, a little less than a half a mile to the first residence, and I think that is close. And probably the most significant issue to me is the condition of the bridge. And I really do not think the bridge over 52, I think there really are going to be some traffic congestion there, and that is going to be sort of a problematic issue as we go on in the future. But that's just explaining my vote, and with that, I'd like to ask all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And all that are opposed, please say aye. Aye. I think that if I heard correctly, I believe the motion passed 5-2. All righty. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, could we take a 5-minute break?
Yes, we can. Take a 5-minute break. Back in 5 minutes. I declared it. Hello, hello, hello. You ready, Dudley? You on?
We now have Joshua.
They done one of them.
Oh, good. All right.
You want to mention that?
Yes, sir. Yes, you want me to do that? I'll be glad to. 5-minute recess has come to a close. The meeting is returned for our regular meeting. And to begin with, what we'll do is what we almost did earlier when we couldn't reach them because of technical difficulties, is get Joshua Swift, who is the man who is our man in the health department from the county's point of view. And Joshua, if you're prepared and if you're ready, we'd like to hear the latest report on the pandemic problems. Here's where we begin to count. 2, 3. I don't think Joshua's ready. In that case, I'll turn the meeting over to our county manager.
Well, we actually have a couple other.
Oh, that's right. We can't do that. We're still in the regular meeting. I'll turn the meeting back over to our Vice Chairman, Don Martin.
He comes back, we can get back on it. The second item today was a resolution designating new review officers to review and certify maps and plats for Forsyth County in accordance with North Carolina General Statute 47-30.2. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved by Commissioner Plyler. Second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Elamine. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes for the meeting of January 6, 2022. Do I have a motion?
Move we approve.
Motion by Chairman Plyler.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Elamine. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, do we have any calls or cards for public session?
Mr. Vice Chairman, we have one caller.
Okay, thank you. Good.
Available. Thank you.
Hello, thank you for calling the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners Public Session Line. This session is for comments only, and questions cannot be answered. Please state your name and address for the record.
Brent Coles, 8275 Whippoorwill Lane, Rural Hall, North Carolina, 27045.
Thank you. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each, and a 30-second warning will be given. You may begin.
When will it begin?
You may begin. You may begin, sir.
Is it live?
Yes, sir, it is
Or is it
live.
recorded?
No, it is live, sir.
Okay. Hello, my name is Brent Coles. I live in Rural Hall, North Carolina. I'm currently changing my baby. Yeah, say hello to them.
I'd be a
So
happy
it's
baby
a little late
too.
because you guys already voted, and I am thoroughly disappointed in the vote. How about now? Are you still with me?
Yes, sir, we are.
Okay. It doesn't matter now because it's over, but I was notified of this proposal on Monday of this week. I live 1.3 miles from this intersection and use the roads this affects every day, multiple times a day. My children will begin driving on these roads. I will view this and all future developments every day of my life. I remain in Rural Hall, North Carolina. I'll attempt to keep this factual, but, you know, I already voted, so my personal feelings are well mirrored by everything everybody has said from the community so far. So here's the facts that you will be ignoring, or in this instance, ignored. The mayor of the village of Vacaville does not support this. Well, let's change that to the present tense. The village of Vacaville council did not support this in a vote of 4-1. The unnotified local residents that did find out by word of mouth alone have submitted their feedback saying they do not support this. The planning commission did not support this in a 5-2 vote. The business does not conform to the purpose statement of the proposed district. There are currently in place adequate fueling locations. This proposal is at exit 120. 123 is an Exxon. 122 is a Sheetz. 118 is a Circle K. Another Sheetz. There are very real traffic concerns that have not been studied in this proposal yet by those with intimate knowledge of its actual day-to-day activity. A location which proposes 2.4 million trips per year, which has since been confirmed in this meeting that they didn't study it, because that's not part of the planning operation. The US 52 North entrance and ensuing backlog onto the bridge, the US 52 North exit and how vehicles enter Westinghouse Shore Road, the intersection of Griffin and Shore Road, the bridge's current capacity from a flow standpoint, the intersection of Shore Road and Bethania Roll Hall right down the road, the entrance of the property and its location on Shore Road specifically that a left-hand turn lane will not account for. There is no clearly stated, proposed or otherwise, direly needed benefit to this request being approved to those in and around the surrounding areas. There is no weight being given to industry changes in the near-term and long-term future. In my research, I read the 58-page document that is the Tobaccoville Area Plan. A wonderfully created roadmap, generous insight and thought. This board adopted the same Tobaccoville Area Plan by resolution on March 25th, 2013, that you just chose to ignore. This zoning request is explicitly counter to that plan. On page 27, this property is referenced specifically, quarter of a page.
Sir, you have
This
30
exact
seconds.
Look at what is in place of the piece of this land, the possibilities, and utilize them wisely. Is a 32-station fueling travel stop the best case scenario? It's not. That's an important consideration given the need to rezone it from RS9 for it to even exist. As steward of our long-term economic growth, I encourage you not to grant this specific zoning request. On a personal note, away from straight backs, a 20-acre, 32-station truck stop. This is what we think we're in dire need of. This is the great vision and plan for the future. It's one thing for you guys to see it on a map. It's another thing to be there. You get one shot. You had one shot to get this right. This site is not readily convertible to other uses once this stop goes in. I live in Roll Hall, North Carolina. I didn't buy a home in North Winston-Salem for a reason. There's an agreed upon, resolved upon by this board, well thought out plan. Stick to the plan, please.
All righty. Turn the meeting over to Mark County Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Vice Chairman. We are continuing to have some technical difficulty. I'll circle back at the end of the meeting to see if Joshua is available, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, we have we do have some business items for consideration. We have reviewed these in briefing sessions at least a couple of times, and hopefully have answered all your questions. So I'll dive into it. Item 5 is an pandemic response special revenue fund. It appropriates $2,560,630 in funding for the low-income energy assistance program. This is a one-time payment for households with children from 0 to 10 years of age. It provides a one-time payment of $300 for those that heat with wood, $400 for those who heat with gas, and $500 for those who heat with electricity.
Do we have a motion?
Move to approve. Okay.
I have a motion from both Chairman Plyler and Commissioner Elamine. Is there a second?
Second.
We have 2 seconds by Commissioner McDaniel and Commissioner Elamine. Again, sorry. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Very good. Agenda item 6 is a budget ordinance amendment. It appropriates additional Winston-Salem Foundation Incorporated grant funds for improvements to the Arboretum at Tanglewood Park. We had, I think, $8,000 in the original budget. The grant total was $15,000, so we're adding $7,000 to that project.
Move approval.
A motion made by Commissioner Plyler.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Elamine. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
All right, very good. Item 7 is a resolution awarding a contract for emergency watershed protection projects. This was some federal money, I believe, that came through Hurricane Florence. So it's been a little bit. Anyway, went out for bid on these, identified these projects, went out for bid on those projects, and we are recommending a not to exceed amount to North State Environmental for $240,833.05.
Move approval.
Motion approved by Commissioner Plyler. Second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wizenhut. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Very good. Item 8 is resolution approving refunds by the tax assessor collecting an amount of $351.46. It's the North Carolina vehicle tax system.
Move approval.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Plyler. Second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Alameen. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Okay, we have 4 reports. We've got the October 2021 Human Resources Report, the December 21 Contribution-Based Benefit CAP Report. It's an annual report that our communication specialist provides. Y'all funded that position several years ago, so he does put together his efforts in an annual report, so I do encourage you to take a look at that and do appreciate that extra effort to try to get the word out, and he and Todd has been terrific in that. Then item 12 is the 2022-2023 Community Services Block Grant application for funding the Community Anti-Poverty Plan submitted by the Experiment in Self-Reliance. And I believe Tawana Wellman-Roebuck is on the line. I don't know if our system is working. Tawana, are you there?
Yes, I'm trying to be here. Can you hear me?
We can, and I apologize because our technology has really been kind of intermittent today, but I'm glad you're here. And I know you wanted to just make a few comments about the plan this year. We've actually, moved it on the agenda, so it's now in front of the board as a report. So you have a few minutes just to review that if you wish.
Thank you. I'll be very brief. First and foremost, I want to thank the county commissioners for your support of Experiment in Self-Reliance and all the things that you do for our community. I also especially want to thank the county commissioners and our county managers in aiding ESR on last year when we hosted the White Flag Shelter for the Homeless. I appreciate you all aiding us in getting the Behavioral Health Plaza located on Highland Avenue, I believe. Thank you very much. I am Tawana Wellman-Roebuck, the Director of Experiment in Self-Reliance. I also have on my call our board chair, who is also representative of our board of directors, Marcia Smith. I don't know if she'll be able to speak, but I wanted to raise the awareness that she is present on the call as well. We want to thank you on behalf of the staff and the clients that we serve. The mission of ESR is to empower social and economic self-reliance for the working low income in Forsyth County. The Community Service Block Grant is designed to serve 220 working low-income citizens in Forsyth County and to aid well over 165 out of poverty by June 30th, 2023. The service levels for this particular grant application is $919,995. That sounds like a grand amount of money. I want you to know that that money goes to benefit the residents here in the county in client assistance. We have started just a new program of late that is emergency assistance, as well as we have a fine staff team that assists individuals in moving in and up out of poverty. The self-sufficiency program is primarily the program that this particular dollars are geared towards that helps individuals increasing their educational and their employability skills. We have an opportunity through their employability skills and aiding them in finding jobs to increase their income, as well as we provide economic literacy for each and every client that enters or enrolls into the program here at ESR. We have something called Road to Empowerment that is actually open to the public for people to come in and learn about banking skills and much more. We're very excited about the one-on-one intensive case management that we provide for the clients that enter into the services of ESR. Clients who are renters are strongly encouraged to participate in our Individual Development Account Program, known as IDA. We want to thank the commissioners for your support of that program historically, as well as Mr. Kyle Haney and his staff in aiding us in working with individuals that are to become first-time homeowners, to aid in small business development. And yes, Dan Cornelius is still a volunteer with that program. The program started in 1999, and to date, we have 690 homeowners. We have the lowest foreclosure rate for that program. primarily because they exit the program knowing a lot about money management and what the expectations are for home ownership. We also want to raise your awareness and thank you for your support of the Earned Income Tax Credit Program. That is a program that is EITC VITA. It is a free tax program that we again started in 1999. And this is a program wherein people come in and get their taxes done for free. We have more than 65 volunteers that are trained through the IRS. Many are retirees in different professions in our community and help us prepare taxes. Historically, prior to the pandemic, we did over 4,500 taxes. Last year, we did 2,700 taxes. Oftentimes, I give a speech and I say, yes, free. And if you're coming to us to get your taxes done, we also will talk to you about the resources that are available out in the community and aiding you in leveraging the possibilities. The greatness about the tax program is we completed 2,700 taxes with $2.6 million in tax refunds. We saved taxpayers nearly $600,000 from paying for their taxes to be getting done and other resources that they may have gone out to get their taxes done previously. And in this program, they can come in and get it done for free. And we pause to tell people about the various resources that are available out in the community. That is just a brief summary of who we are and what we do. I will be glad to answer any questions that you might have, as well as I know Ms. Marsha Smith is on this call, our board chair. If you could just say hello, Ms. Marsha.
Good afternoon. My name is Marsha Smith, and I'm proud to be associated with ESR, and I just wanted to thank the Board of Commissioners for your support throughout the years. And it's amazing just to see the change in the lives of the individuals that are impacted by the work that ESR performs. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Marsha. I will pause to see if people have questions of me or any clarity I can provide.
Tawana, this is Don Martin. I just want to say thank you for all the good work that you all do, Experiment Self-Reliance. Help a lot of folks, and it's very well documented, the successes that you actually do achieve and are really making a difference. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So very good. That is the reports for the board's acceptance.
All righty. Let's see. We have a motion to accept reports.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Chairman Plyler, second by Commissioner Linville. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then the last item is whether or not, I think Joshua is on the line. I do think we've got our technology squared away. We can do Joshua's report now, or we can pick it up at the beginning of a briefing session, either way.
Let's go ahead and do it now. We got him.
You there, Joshua?
Yes, sir. Chairman, Vice Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for opportunity. I will give a brief presentation. I've got my slides coming up. You should be able to see that. So the COVID-19 update for today, January 20th, 2022, you can see we reported 937 cases. So our average cases per day now over the last 2 weeks is 950. I never really thought I would say that 937 is sort of a normal day, but that's the new normal that we're facing with the number of cases that are confirmed cases. We've had a 72% increase in the last 14 days. That just shows that we've drastically increased, and it looks like it's leveling off. You'll see that in a moment. 13,304 cases in the last 14 days. You can see our percent positivity for the 19th is 36%. And really, I would say, unfortunately, the vaccination rates for adults 18 and older is really stayed the same for quite some time. I don't have data from the state or at the county level for the number of boosters that have come through, so we hope to be able to tease that out and have that information soon. You can see we've had 657 deaths since the beginning of the pandemic. We have seen 18 deaths roughly in the last week to 10 days. So what you usually see in other places is after cases peak, then as that goes down, then the deaths can go up. It does look like Omicron overall is less severe, but you're just dealing with much larger numbers. On Also note that we have right now over 100 people, Forsyth County residents, 101 actually, in the hospital. That is our latest count, which that is up from where we were over December. Testing, 2 slides about testing. This is a website, covidtest.gov, where you can go to get a free at-home COVID-19 test that'll be delivered by mail. So just wanted to make the public aware of that resource. Next, testing options in the community. Staff in public health have been working really hard with our state vendors and our hospitals, trying to make the public more aware and make more options available for testing. So you can see some new options and some options that have always been around for quite some time. But we have Galilee Missionary Baptist Church. That site will come open on January 24th. It's coming Monday, open Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, 9 to 3. That's a Star Med location. Union Baptist Church has been offering testing for quite some time, several months. They're open from 11 to 5, Monday through Saturday. Southeast Plaza Shopping Center, they're going to have a site that starts tomorrow, on Saturday, January 22nd. It'll be open Fridays through Mondays, having that open until mid-February, 9 a.m. to 7. That's going to be through Mako Medical. Then you have Novant is continuing to keep their Haynes Mall location open. Their hours are Monday through Friday, 7 to 3. On Monday evenings, they're open 6 to 9, and then they are open Saturdays from 7 to 11. And then today, Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist has opened a new site in partnership with the City of Winston-Salem, Winston-Salem State University, at Bowman Gray Stadium in their west lot. It's going to be an outdoor testing drive-through Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. So you can see there's the testing options, and this does not include options that are available at pharmacies and your healthcare providers. Next, these next 2 slides are just updates. When you look at our cases and our percent positivity, the percent positive, you can see that the week of the 9th, we actually reported 40% positivity. So that number has skyrocketed since mid-December. So you can see that number continues to go up. A little bit of progress maybe is that you can see this is our cases per week, and that looks like it's not as steep anymore. It's now 6,659 cases the week of the 9th. So that maybe it's going to start to level off. It looks like when you look at our daily averages, that's what it looks like is happening. Still at historic highs, and this does not include at-home testing, which are not reportable to the health department. And 2 more slides, vaccination status, just showing that incremental changes week by week. We continue to see these numbers inch up when you're looking at our demographics by age and race. So still making the vaccine available, and we're still seeing steady traffic at the health department, but probably a good day now is around 100 people, where it was 200 people, and then before that we were seeing 300 and 400 people. So, and again, there's more options available in the community for people to get the vaccine, but also just another note I would say is this is just first and second doses. This does not include booster doses, and we don't have that data from the state yet on our booster, how many people have gotten boosters. Last, definitely not least, masking. We've worked with DSS to distribute 73,000 N95 masks to partners in the public. These were masks that we got from the state. Really like to give a kudos to Emily Austin, our Health and Human Services Emergency Preparedness Coordinator. She's been working with the team at DSS. I know Gail Swain is one of her partners over there. They've been working together. We've both got over 36,000 masks, put those together and making those available to our partners in the community, which includes businesses, churches, nonprofits, also city and county staff, as well as offering them in the public at the health department lobby. And you probably saw the message from the Health and Human Services Board. Really just wanted to echo that message from public health as health director, encouraging everyone to wear a mask indoors as we battle this surge in cases and get through these next few weeks. So I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Josh, for your usual weekly report. Is it too hard to track the number of local ICU beds available in terms of, I know we've talked about 90% utilization, whatever the easiest way to do that, but I think that's probably the most critical issue.
Yeah, there is some data. That would be a really great question for the two hospital systems. You can go onto the New York Times website, and they can actually drill it down by hospital. But I think the best bet, I don't know how they're getting that data, the best bet would be to work through those hospitals. I can draw data from just the triad on the state website when it looks at the whole triad, but that is as far as from Lenoir and Caldwell County all the way to Greensboro. So that's a huge swath of the state.
Any other questions for Joshua? As usual, thank you for all the hard work, and I appreciate you opening more testing sites with this number of with the spread of COVID out there. There are a lot of people wanting to get tests, particularly some for work and others. And I'm glad that they're readily available or becoming more available. Let me put it that way, becoming more available. So thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn our regular meeting?
So moved.
Commissioner Plyler, second. Second by Commissioner Kaplan. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we only need a couple minutes, Mr. Chairman, so we can.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.